Man, I am really liking these Miami Hurricanes true freshmen. These guys are out there on Greentree trying to take people's jobs.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, and contributor to allhurricanes.com. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. Miami Hurricanes have the day off today on Thursday. So I'm just kicking back, man. They're off today. They're going to be back in practice on Friday and Saturday. So we have a busy weekend coming up. So we have 2 fall camp sessions in the books. I wanted to reflect on my biggest observations so far, taking in 2 practices, talking with players and coaches after those 2 practices. And one of the common threads that stood out on both of these first 2 days is I see a lot of these true freshmen from that heralded class of 2023 really stepping up and pushing the veterans. And there's also a handful of the transfer portal guys, some of them younger, some of them veterans that are pushing the guys who were here last year. That's what we wanted to see. Iron sharpens iron. We need more competition out there on Greentree. So far, we are getting it. So let's start with the offense. And the first guy that I want to give credit to here, true freshman, Ray Joseph, the former standout receiver at Miami Edison. He is turning heads out there. Now, you all know I had high expectations for Ray heading into fall camp because I loved him in high school and I really enjoyed what he did in spring football. But so far in fall, he is exceeding my expectations. You're not going to be able to keep Ray off the field. I don't think he's going to be a starter this year because he's playing behind Xavier Restrepo. But Ray Joseph is going to get on the field this year, and I think he's going to get on the field a lot. He's quick. He's always open, and he's been making some difficult catches, too. I saw him make a sliding catch on Tuesday in practice 1, which really impressed me. But don't just take my word for it on Ray Joseph, okay? Because it's one thing, Donno, he's got this Ray obsession. I'm not the only one with a Ray obsession, okay? Because his veteran teammates are also impressed. After Wednesday's practice, we got a chance to speak with Xavier Restrepo and Colbie Young, who are both more than likely going to be starters on Miami's offense this year. Both of them vets, and both of them went out of their way to sing Ray's praises, right? I think Ray Joseph is going to end up being sooner than later a Roscoe Parrish or a Santana Moss type in Miami's offense. He's got that speed, he's got that shiftiness, and he's got that football IQ. On Wednesday, in fact, Ray, which surprised some people, he was getting reps right behind Xavier Restrepo, which means he was ahead, at least on Wednesday. This is going to change throughout fall camp, believe me. But he was getting reps ahead of Rashard Smith in the second practice session. And Ray's one of those guys who's really been popping in practice so far. Someone else who's not a freshman, but I continue to see some good stuff out there from Isaiah Horton, who's heading into his second year, 6'4" wide receiver. He continues to step up. He's building on a good spring that he had. So far, so good in the fall as well. And Horton has been getting his reps right behind Colbie Young, which makes sense. He and Colbie have similar size profile and body types, all right? Quarterbacks. Tyler Van Dyke has been solid so far. Clearly, he's quarterback 1, okay? I think in the second day, he looked even better than he did in the first day. Overall, he's been the most accurate. He's the guy who's got the most command of that offense. Going back on day 1, and I talked about this on our episode, I think 2 days ago. On day 1, Damari Brown made an excellent throw in drills to Elijah Arroyo, threading a needle on that throw. So he's not been consistent with his accuracy, as we know, but he is accurate on occasion. And Jakari, his arm strength continues to shine. That is not his problem. That guy can probably throw it 100 yards, 100-plus yards. Like, the arm strength is not a problem for him. He's actually been better on deep balls so far on the short stuff. So that's what he's looking to develop a little bit more, the timing and the accuracy on the short and intermediate throws. And I remember something that Shannon Dawson, the quarterback's coach and offensive coordinator, said about Jakari when we were talking with Shannon at Media Day on Monday is, as long as he can keep his feet in control, his footwork, then he can be a really dangerous passer. It's when he gets the happy feet, right? When his footwork is not on point, is when the throws can get away from him a little bit. So I know that that's something he's constantly working on. There's something to Emory Williams, the true freshman. It's going to need some seasoning, but I think he's got the makings of a star. He's very accurate, and he's got the best natural footwork in the quarterback room. When those guys do the footwork drills, Emory always looks smoother than the other two. Like, not saying he's the better overall quarterback, but I think he's going to be a great one at Miami someday, because Emory Williams, who's got also the size, is going to be a great one at the U at some point. Running backs. Running back, it's not the easiest position to make judgments on right now for a couple of reasons. We mostly get to watch individual drills, so there's not as much you see from the running backs. And the running backs, at least on the first day, were kind of on the far side of the field from where I was standing. But I continued to keep hearing there's a lot of internal excitement about Mark Fletcher, as there should be, right? Fletcher, another one of these true freshmen who's going to be pushing for serious playing time. He's a well-rounded runner, and he's 6'1", 223 pounds at 18 years old. I mean, Fletcher is going to be a problem. It's only a matter of when, not if, Mark Fletcher is going to be a problem. And here's some good news for the running back room. This guy has not been full go, probably will not be full go for quite some time. But on Wednesday, Trevante Citizen, he was on the field doing some individual work during the flex period. It's a great sight to see. So Trevante, I don't think he's healthy enough coming off the knee and the setback. He's not healthy enough yet to work with teammates, but he is doing individual stuff, and he's making progress. So hopefully at some point during the regular season, we see Trevante Citizen, because Miami's backfield, they're going to be loaded when you go from Henry Parrish, Mark Fletcher, Don Chaney, of course, I haven't forgotten about Mark Fletcher, Chris Johnson and his speed, and Trevante Citizen at some point is going to join that group this year. Let's talk about the tight ends. Miami's tight end room, that's going to be one of the team's biggest strengths this year. I talked about that a little bit on our Wednesday episode with Bruce Warner. I'm really bullish on tight end at Miami. Elijah Arroyo, who I think is going to be tight end one, he looks 100% healthy now. He had an ACL injury early last season. He is fully recovered. I watched Elijah closely on Tuesday. He seems to be moving with zero restrictions. He and Cam McCormick, who's the eighth-year guy that Mario brought in from Oregon, who's the best blocker on the team at tight end. So Elijah Arroyo, Cam McCormick have been the top two tight ends in the rotation so far. I think Arroyo is going to be tight end one. I'm really impressed with how Jaleel Skinner is transforming his body. So he's already got the crazy height at 6'6". Shannon Dawson is going to have to find creative ways to line him up, okay? Because, he's working on his blocking, but he's not the best blocker yet at tight end. He's not quite as well-rounded yet as Elijah Arroyo. But Jaleel Skinner, he can be Miami's version of what Johnny Wilson, 6'7", is in Florida State's offense. Skinner, 6'6". He's not as lanky as he was last year. He's added a lot of muscle to his frame. He told me on Monday he's been working tirelessly on his inline blocking, so he's trying to become more well-rounded. And let's go back to the theme of true freshmen here. A guy that I'm loving watching out there is Riley Williams. Riley Williams, the true freshman out of IMG Academy, he's another one of these young guys that is out there turning heads, and he's up to 6'5", 255 pounds. That is a big, big boy, okay? Offensive line. I expect that to be the most improved unit on the team, and perhaps offensive line will end up being the best overall strength of the team. I hope it is, because that was a weakness last year. Javion Cohen, this is not a young guy. This is a veteran, but a transfer. He's a newcomer at Miami. He looks every bit like a first-team All-American out there. Here's a young guy, Francis Mauigoa, CC. He's been turning heads out there. Gabby Urrutia from Inside the U reported that Francis has really been shining in team drills, the parts of the practice the media can't watch, so he's getting a scoop on that. And apparently Francis completely stymied one of Miami's top edge rushers yesterday in team drills. So I'd say Francis, who was the starter at right tackle for most of spring, seems to be on track to be the starting right tackle week 1 this year. And of course, Matt Lee continues to play well and lead by example. He's one of the hardest workers on the team by far, the transfer center out of UCF. And when we come back, we got to break down the defense because, guys, The position battles at cornerback are really starting to heat up, including one of Miami's true freshman corners getting work with the ones yesterday. I'm loving this. I'm loving the competition out there on Greentree. You want to keep it locked right here. We're only getting started on Locked On Canes. LinkedIn Jobs is a must if you're a small business owner. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available, and that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. You add your job in the purple #hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile and spread the word that you're hiring. And simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. And guys, as an employee, I have gotten jobs through LinkedIn Jobs before, so I know it works. I know whether you're looking for a job or you're posting a job, I know it works. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. And for the everydayers, if you want to take your everydayer experience to the next level, our subtext community, it's really rocking these days, guys. You get SMS text messages directly from my phone to yours. If you want to join the community, click the link in the show description below. You guys can ask me one-on-one questions on there, some of which I'll answer right there on the text. Others I'll answer on the show. You guys can receive from me breaking news, practice updates, recruiting scoops, all this conference realignment stuff that's going on. We'll talk about that more on tomorrow's episode, guys, so stay tuned for that. Try it free for 14 days with the link below to join our subtext community. And then if you like it, you can opt in after 2 weeks, and it's $4.99 a month. We give you a lot of added value on there. Defense. 2 days into fall camp, there are some trends emerging. And again, newcomers are shining. Specifically at cornerback, it's becoming a hotbed for battles, okay? We talked a lot after the first session. We talked about Jaden Richard, the transfer from Vanderbilt, who I think has all 4 years of eligibility left. I don't think he burned that last year, if I'm not mistaken, but he's a young guy, and he is long at 6'2", and he looks the part, right? When I got out to practice, I hadn't opened up my roster the other day, and I'm seeing number 25. All right, looking good. That's Jaden. That's the new guy from Vanderbilt, and he doesn't just look good. He's been disruptive as well in practice. I thought he popped on the first day more than anyone else on the team. At the end of the media viewing period that day, made a great play to break up an Emory Williams pass, and then 2 plays later, intercepted Tyler Van Dyke, and it was more of a good play from him than it was a bad throw from TVD. So Jaden has been really good. And even Josh Pate from 24/7, he's taken notice of Jaden Richard. He referred to someone as one of the steals. He referred to him as one of the steals in the transfer portal so far. So he's hearing the same positive buzz that we've been talking about here. And here, this is an interesting story that started developing yesterday, day 2 of fall camp. True freshman Damari Brown out of American Heritage, he got some snaps with the first teamers on Wednesday. So a clear message is being sent by the freshmen on this football team. These guys are not just here to develop. They're here to try to take people's jobs. What was it that Conor McGregor said? I'm not here to take part. I'm here to take over. That's what that was a terrible Irish accent. I apologize. I might need to send an apology to the entire nation of Ireland. I'm so sorry for what I just did to your accent. But Damari Brown is out there. He's trying to take over. So we could end up seeing a scenario play out throughout the regular season where Damari Brown, true freshman from Heritage, and older brother Devontae, who just transferred in from UCF, where they could be on the field at the same time a lot this season. Perhaps they could even be the 2 starting outside cornerbacks this season. How fun would that be? Now, someone asked me, I think it was either on the subtext or on the Twitter, probably on the subtext. Someone was asking me if if I see differences in the team speed on defense, right? Because we know the offense, when you add guys like Ray Joseph and Tyler Harrell and Christopher Johnson Jr., who are, track stars with bona fide speed, we know the offense is getting faster. Someone asked me if the defense is getting faster. Now, I'll be completely honest. Before the pads come on, it's really tough to say. Now, on paper, Miami has brought in new defenders who are quick and strong compared to some of the guys that we had last year. But what I really notice, it's too soon for me to say, yes, the defense is way faster. I try to be honest with you guys, all right? I can't really say that yet. But my big takeaway on Miami's defense, especially the secondary, is they're getting bigger and longer. You look at the size of the new corners that Miami added. Transfer portal and recruiting. The new corners Miami added to the roster. Jadaeus Richard, 6'2". Devontae and Damari Brown, both 6'2". Demetrius Freeney, 6'1". Now, Robert Stafford is no slouch at 5'11". But compared, because that 5'11" is that's fine size for a cornerback. But he looks short compared to some of these other guys. I think Robert Stafford is a dog. He's going to end up being a great one. So I judge him not by his size, as the great Jedi Master Yoda would say. Now, another defensive back who's really been making an impression so far, another transfer, Jaden Davis out of Oklahoma. He's been working at the nickel spot so far and getting first-team reps there. So he's trending to potentially be the starter at the nickel star position, they call it at Miami. Remember, he wasn't around for spring football, so he wasn't there to play that role in spring. Corey Couch is the guy who's played that role in Miami in the past, but Corey, who's put on some size on his frame, he's been moved to the boundary. So it looks like the star position now is Jaden Davis's to lose at this point. An interesting story that's starting to emerge here from the early days of fall camp, and I'm here for it. This guy's one of the most talented players on the roster, period. Lance Guidry, Miami's defensive coordinator, is going to do everything he can to put James Williams in various positions to succeed and help the team. And versatility for a guy like that is big because James, with his frame and his abilities, he is a unicorn at 6'5", 223. And that's his up-to-date weight because he told us yesterday in the media session. So James Williams, he moves like a safety, and he's got the range of a safety, but he's built like a linebacker. So he's going to move around the field this year, and he is going to get some snaps at outside linebacker in addition to playing safety. We spoke to James yesterday, and he's smiling from ear to ear. He is beyond excited to play in Lance Guidry's defense, and I think James is going to be hopefully one of the standouts on the D. And he's also going to be a Swiss Army knife who's going to confuse opposing quarterbacks and opposing offensive coordinators because you're never going to know where this guy is coming from on the field, okay? At linebacker, true freshman Malik Bryant, he's looking like the real deal out there. Now, Malik was around for spring, but he didn't work much in spring because he was carrying an injury, so he was limited. So far in fall, he's making an impression with his explosiveness. And I spoke to Malik Media Day on Monday, and he told me he loves his role in this defense because Guidry is going to let him go after quarterbacks, all right? And Bryant is a natural pass rusher from outside linebacker. And another linebacker, a veteran, but a newcomer, transfer Kiko Mauigoa, the brother of Cece, who transferred in from Washington State. He's been the first team Mike linebacker in each of the first two practices so far. So he looks to be on track to start at Mike linebacker this season. So those are my big takeaways from the first 2 days of fall practice. And you guys let me know if I left anybody out that you want me to talk about in an upcoming episode, or you heard something different from what I'm telling you. Let me know in the comment section below. Whether you're a YouTube subscriber, let us know in the YouTube comments, or you could always tweet me at Locked On Canes. And by the way, if you follow us on Locked On Canes, we will follow you back. Is it still called Twitter? I don't know, X. Follow us on X, and we will follow you back. Send us they don't even call them tweets anymore. Send us a post on X anytime, and we will read those on the air from time to time. So when we come back, 3 Miami Hurricanes have received preseason All-ACC honors. So you got 3 guys out of first team only. 3 guys out of 22 plus special teamers. Where does Miami stack compared to some of the other big boys in the conference? And is Miami well represented? We will get to that more when we come back. You're going to want to keep it locked right here to Locked On Canes. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. We are available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. I'm going to be back out at practice tomorrow, Friday. So our Friday episode will probably come out in the early afternoon because I'm going to be there from, 9 a.m. to like 12:30, 12:45 p.m. So we'll have an early afternoon episode tomorrow, and I will give you a full rundown and recap. I don't know why my voice cracked when I said that. I'll give you a complete rundown and recap of day 3 of fall practice in tomorrow's episode Friday. So you want to stay tuned for that. We'll get your weekend started off right. Congratulations to 3 Miami Hurricanes on making preseason All-ACC. I kind of feel like we could have had a 4th, maybe should have had a 4th, but obviously the guys who made the list are very well deserving. Safety Cam Kinchens, voted by the ACC conference as All-ACC preseason. Well-deserved, was arguably the best safety in the entire country last year. Offensive lineman Javion Cohen made the cut this year. And again, so far, Cohen has looked as good as advertised. As a multi-year starter at left guard at the Alabama Crimson Tide, he is going to slide right in and become one of the best offensive linemen in the ACC. And so the 3rd representative that Miami had preseason All-ACC team is Andy Borregales, the place kicker. And by the way, it was a big day for Borregales yesterday because not only was he named All-ACC, he's also been named to the Groza Award watch list. That's an award given to the outstanding kicker every year, of course. His older brother won the Groza here, 3 years ago. Won the Groza here, so we'll see if younger brother can complete that brace, that double for the Borregales family. So congratulations to Andy Borregales for that. So I guess like the only, Miami's got a lot to prove this year, right? And coming off of 5-7, I wasn't going to get too greedy on which players are going to make All-ACC. I thought Matt Lee could have made the cut. I think by the end of the season, Matt Lee is going to be probably first team postseason All-ACC, but he didn't make the cut preseason. Other than that, I can't really complain, right? Leonard Taylor just didn't play enough snaps last year. James Williams was inconsistent last year. Obviously Tyler Van Dyke, wasn't going to make first team All-ACC this year, especially with the kind of year that Drake May had last season. So I can't really complain about the way that this shook out. So how does Miami compare to Clemson and Florida State? Florida State, they won up to Miami. They have 4 players on that list. Clemson leads the conference with 7. So, if you go by the media, Clemson's still far and away the most talented team in the ACC, which is interesting because a lot of people are picking Florida State to win the ACC, despite the fact that Clemson still on paper has the more stacked roster out of those 2. So that's, it's probably going to be your ACC championship game this year, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But again, congratulations to Andy Borregales, Javion Cohen, Cam Kinchens, preseason All-ACC. You guys deserve it. Cam's got that banner hanging back there in the indoor facility for being an All-American last year. So hopefully he can follow that up with another All-American season. Before we run, I wanted to shout out some new 5-star reviews we received on Apple Podcast. If you guys can send these, I shout you out on the show. If you're an audio subscriber, Apple Podcast. And by the way, shout out to the You Heard Pod, because you notice that that's the first thing that pops up there. Right next to my own podcast, the You Heard Pod. Those guys do a great job, Ben, Joe, Chalupa. But if you guys enjoy the show and you subscribe to the audio version, if you could just take a couple minutes and leave us a 5-star review, it goes a long way to helping us grow the show. And I like to shout you guys out after you leave us 5-star reviews. We got a few new ones since the last time we did this. Here's one from Texas Kane, who says, and we got a lot of listeners in Texas, by the way. You guys rock in the Lone Star State. Alex does a great job delivering awesome updates on Canes football. Mario and the players are building something special down in the 305. I'm hoping to make my way to the Miami versus A&M game this year. Go Canes, he said. Thank you, Texas Kane. We get one from Jesus, who titled it, Welcome to the U. He says, outstanding podcast. I appreciate that you bring various experts with regards to recruiting, roster evaluation, and other content creators. Just awesome. How does someone become a contributor? He says, I always look forward to hearing your content. Had me so pumped for the season to start. If you strike up a conversation with me on I was about to say Twitter, but whatever we call that thing now, X. If you slide into my DMs on X, and we can chat anytime, or join our exclusive subtext campaign. Link in the show description below. We can chat on there as well. We get one from Canes 4N who says, or Canes F4N. Donno works his tail off to get us Canes fans the most up-to-date information on recruiting, camps, and other analysis. Safe to say this is on my daily rotation. Thank you so much. I never miss an episode. Go Canes. Thank you. We get one short and sweet from Dolphins47 who just says, go Canes. 5 stars, so I will take it. Jake Mobley says, this show makes it extremely easy to keep up with the news, being as busy as I have been recently. Coming from Georgia, it's hard to keep watching the home team win and not the Hurricanes. So the home team being Georgia for him, but not the Canes, especially since I wasn't born until after the U's success. Oh, I'm so sorry about that, man. So thank you, Donno, for helping with that. I'm also very excited for all the collabs, especially with my boy, Coach Coop. We love Coop. Y'all are definitely 2 goats, and I can't wait for the next collaboration. I love that. Jonah says, makes my day. Listen to the Canes updates every day. Really makes my workday fly by. Gets me all pumped for the season. Only thing is, I wish they were longer episodes. Yeah, but man, I got stuff to do. Mr. Cool Cane fan says, Donno, keep up the good news. My brother been locked in for the last year. I look forward to the content every day. I think those are all the new ones. So thank you guys so much for the 5-star reviews. We will talk to you again tomorrow after fall practice number 3. We'll give you the full breakdown. We'll see if any more of these true freshmen are out there cracking skulls and taking people's jobs. We will talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.